Unless you look at him and talk that direction, then it kind of picks it up.
Don't look at me.
You have to avoid eye contact the entire episode.
Welcome to After Listen, the music discovery and discussion podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Terrio.
And I'm Brandon Lee.
And today, I'm sorry, I can't do that the whole episode. All right. Today's topic is all about being spooky, the macabre, ghosts, not the band this time, witches, skeletons, and more. This is our special Halloween episode. And today, we have not one, but two special guests. We have Dox and GiggleScar.
Hi.
Hello.
I was like, when we say hi, like I'm waiting for a cue, like a marker.
Where's our special introductions, huh?
We have Dox and GiggleScar. Introduce yourself, GiggleScar.
Hi guys. So I go by GiggleScar, and me and Terrio have known each other for quite some time. I think about 5 years.
That's longer than that.
No, it's been longer than that.
Yeah,
I think our first time ever seeing each other was when we worked at the spooky place. And we were doing Halloween, remember? And the thing moved, and I did this noise like, oh, because I thought I was gonna die and fall off the pillars.
Yo, that will never escape my head.
No.
So GiggleScar was up top in the back room of the place, moving some boxes around, and then a subtle movement happened, and she let out a noise I've never will forget in my life. So she was just like mid conversation, was like, "Yes, I think I can move this thing."
It's because I was stocking up the Halloween boxes, and I was like, I love Halloween. I'm so excited. I'm really excited to work with you. And the thing moved 2 inches because of the wood underneath me, and it couldn't handle my fat ass, so it just kind of moved.
And that's how we've been stuck together ever since.
Pretty much.
And our second guest host for today, Dox.
Hello. I'm Dox. Welcome. We have known Terrio for 5 or 4 years? Maybe 6? Oh no. We were working together at a nightmare store.
Well, it's very nice to meet you guys as someone who does not know you, or has not known you for 5+ years. I'm super excited today for this episode. I think it's going to be great.
I am too. It's nice to meet you.
What? Have I met you before? Did you have a parrot?
What?
No.
A parrot?
It's a different person.
You're thinking of Braves Man.
I have thought about getting birds in the past, so it's kind of funny you mentioned that.
Hashtag not all white people.
Damn, calling me out.
No, birds will just make me angry at that point. Like, I love birds, don't get me wrong, but the constant repetitive sound of tweeting would bug me.
My cousins had birds, or like their stepdad did several years before he passed away. He had a couple birds, and man, yeah, annoying is like an understatement. I would sleep over at their house sometimes growing up, and it'd be 3 a.m. All of a sudden, they just start squawking and squeaking. And they were parrots too, so they would start like talking.
Oh God.
Yeah, they was probably like, caw, man, you believe this shit? Okay.
All right. Well, of course, we do love music, and we love talking about it even more, but we do have some obligatory disclaimers, as we do every episode. First and foremost, we respect everyone's opinion, regardless of how wrong and terrible it may be, always and forever. We're just talking about the music. If any artist or group gets canceled before or after we're doing a discussion, it does not mean we're advocating for whatever they got canceled for, one way or the other on that. And this is just kind of an overview of the holiday and it's the media that is kind of attached to it. There's no way we could ever possibly cover everything Halloween. So sorry if there's something like super specific related to Halloween you hope that we cover. Beautiful.
Good job.
Beautiful. Yeah, there's just no way we could cover everything. So, and lastly, as always, you can check the show notes for song links and ways you can support the artists featured in today's episode.
I don't know how to do I am so introverted. I don't realize that there's people in the room.
It's okay. I have a habit of like burping mid-sentence while we're recording.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I'll stop. Literally, I'll be in the middle of a sentence. I'll say a word, burp right as I finish the word, and then just pick the sentence right back up and just keep going.
Most of the time I take them out, but it's all good. All right. So let's get into this special spooky episode with a quick overview of what Halloween is. So the actual definition of Halloween, according to the world sorcerer known as Google, is the night of October 31st, the eve of All Saints' Day, commonly celebrated by children who dress in costumes and go door to door and asking for candy. That is literally all we know about Halloween. So y'all two are the experts, and we, ask y'all onto the show to kind of enlighten us. And of course, through music, I was always, it's like what, November 1st, you hear, that's when Mariah Carey comes out of her crypt and punishes us for like 2 or 3 months at a time. Mm-hmm. So
it's like, not yet.
Exactly.
The turkey's not here yet.
Yes, put it back on ice. So it's just like, I always kind of feel like Halloween gets overlooked, and we thought about like Halloween music, and thanks to you two, y'all put together a playlist with a majority of y'all put together a majority of the playlist of songs that I've never heard or haven't really listened to. So I figured Halloween needs its time to shine as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, but let's start off with the easy cold open. What does Halloween mean to y'all? Either one of y'all can take it first. Doesn't matter.
You be my guest, Dox.
No.
You go right out ahead.
What? Don't put that on me. So Halloween, it's always been my favorite holiday. If there was a spooky magazine, you usually ended up in the grocery cart. I don't even know what magazines there were back then. I still have a few. Just spooky tales. I would have that.
All right. What about you, GiggleScar? I don't know why I like saying it like that. I was thinking like, what's the name? Lion King dude? Scar. I keep saying.
Oh god, I don't like the live action. Like, that'll be
it's terrible.
Argument for another. Yes.
Yeah.
The crescendo of his villain song will forever be my funeral march because it was just so mediocre. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so Halloween means to me is a childhood comfort, because when Halloween came around, it meant fun, it meant thrills, it meant hay rides, it meant, going to, at the time when I was a part of, my church at that point as a young child, it would mean like the spooky maze, corn maze, the apple fritters, and we would always come together and sell baked goods. So to me, Halloween means coming together despite different backgrounds and just having fun and just having a great time with each other. But it also could mean that when I was a young child, my mother allowed me to watch slasher films because she worked third shift at her job, and she woke up one day and it was just Jason just having a good old time with the campers, having a little talk with them. Yeah. And my mom looks over at me, and I'm just like 5 years old holding my Barbie doll, combing her hair, looking at the TV. She goes, "You okay?" And I'm like, "Uh-huh." I'm just combing away. So I guess that's what Halloween means to me, is just good childhood memories.
What about you, Brandon?
I really did not have like a lot of, I don't want to say this. Growing up, there were definitely like GiggleScar. I definitely remember doing like, I think they called it like trunk or treat, where they would have like, instead of going door to door, they would have like all the people at my church growing up would have like candy in the back of their car, and then they would just have all the cars lined up, and they pop the trunk, and you would go to like car to car getting candy. Growing up in kind of like a rural town, there wasn't like a lot of. There was a few neighborhoods you can go trick or treating in, but it just wasn't. I think I maybe went trick or treating like 3 or 4 times total growing up. I know, right?
You've been robbed.
I know.
We need to take you trick or treating this year.
I did enjoy like a lot of Halloween media growing up. Like, what was that movie? Hocus Pocus, I think, was one movie I always loved. That movie's great. I mean, there's so many. There's a whole plethora of great Halloween like movies and TV shows from over the years that I loved growing up. But I never really had like a intense connection to it. I've always just kind of enjoyed it, much like GiggleScar said, especially once I got kind of like older in my teenage years and I was able to go to like the haunted houses and stuff with friends and the haunted corn mazes and stuff. It got a little bit more fun, but even then I've never really felt like super connected to it necessarily. So yeah, I'm really excited to kind of immerse myself in it for this episode. What about you, Terrio?
Very similar to you, Brandon. I never really grew up with like that. Well, okay, so I didn't like not celebrate Halloween per se. It wasn't like taboo. It was just one of those things I guess after a while as a kid, I kind of just stopped caring about. So like the horror movies and all those different things, like my family watched those movies all year long. So it's either westerns or somebody getting stabbed to death, or somebody being stabbed to death in a western, or a western where the ghost. I don't know. It's just some craziness happens. So I'm used to that all year long. So that doesn't really bother me per se. But I mean, I had some fun memories of kind of piecing together my own costume or whatever, or getting a chance to pick out something at the store. But maybe a handful of times we actually went like trick or treating. It wasn't really a thing. Then also I'm not like a super candy freak either. So I really just it was like one of those holidays like, it's all right. But I'm here now. I'm grown, and I can celebrate Halloween if I want to.
Hell yeah.
So, how would you say Halloween is different as an adult now compared to when you were as a kid?
Oh,
Better?
gosh.
Well, I had limited options when I was a child. So wherever I could go is where my parents could take me. So now I can go to any event happening on various weekends leading on up to October 31st, sometimes even after. I can go to a convention that's horror themed throughout the year. I'm not limited to 2 or 1 month.
Yeah, you can have that whole Halloween all year long kind of vibe.
Plus, the key thing I think he said is he doesn't worry about his mom taking him everywhere. So, like,
Right.
If you
I
see,
take
if
my
you hear or
own
see something
self
cool,
somewhere.
right? It's like, oh, there's a cool, haunted house or something on the other side of town. You just, it's September 20th and it's open or whatever. I'm gonna go check it out. Whereas as a
That's
kid, you have to
where
be like, Mom, please take me, Mom, I want to go.
no.
That's the one. That's where I stop at. I cannot go to any spooky houses at all because, for my respect for the scare actors, a lot of my friends are scare actors. I have a reach to where if you startle me, you might get knocked out. And so I have to remove myself from that situation. And of course, the scare actors are like, oh, we're used to it and everything else. I'm like, you just don't understand. I will lay you out on the ground. So I can't go to anything like that, unfortunately. Unless one time I was wearing trip pants and my friends figured out what to do is get the cuffs that were a part of the trip pants and kind of cuff me to my pants. So that way, if I got scared, I just jump up and do my elbows like this, like a chicken. That way I can't, knock someone out. And that's the only way I can go to any scary house.
I've got the opposite problem with that. I'm a little bit of a monster fucker, so I'm really happy with the creatures that are coming out. I'm like, you look awesome.
Yeah.
I don't touch anyone, but it's like, you are really attractive. I should keep on moving.
Hey, I completely understand on that aspect as well. If I see a werewolf or someone in a Michael Myers mask, I'm like, hey, baby.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Both of y'all are two people who go to these haunted houses and be like, oh no, come get me. Oh no. Oops, I fell.
I'm stuck
working in the corner like, yeah. I'm all alone.
I'm stuck in the dryer. Help. I got stuck. Help.
Don't hold my hands against the wall.
My stepmom left me at this haunted house. Oh no. Oh, too far? Okay. All right, so
a little bit
Interesting.
too far and almost going into Alabama cornfields. All right, so just come on back.
I mean, both of those are equally as haunting. So, especially after sundown for
Oh
one
God,
out of the
run,
four of us.
run.
I've never been in a corn maze.
You
What?
never been to a corn maze?
No, I've definitely never been naked running backwards in a corn maze. So
That was oddly specific, Docs.
Very
Right?
specific.
That was
Hey.
suspiciously specific.
you can do that with whatever you want.
So we're gonna go right back to that disclaimer where we respect everyone's opinion, regardless of how weird and awful it may be. All
Okay.
right, so I'm kidding. No, this is a safe space. I don't care. I mean, who hasn't ran through the woods naked once or twice in their life?
You're not an adult if you haven't.
I
Yeah.
have as a
It's
teenager.
a rite of adulthood, you know?
Yeah, it's
You gotta
it's a
do it
right-
once in your life.
Absolutely, it's a rite of passage. Okay, so what are you guys' like favorite Halloween media? Like when you think of Halloween and the things you consume, what are your favorites? Is it
Movies.
music,
I love
live
movies.
action, haunted houses, etc.?
It's a lot of media. Movies, TV shows. There's horror punk that I love to listen to.
Horror punk. I haven't heard of that.
Yeah.
Huh. I'm gonna write that down.
That's like Misfits.
I was
Oh,
gonna say, I think
Misfits.
Misfits, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, then yeah.
Yeah. Misfits, Collar Breeze, Carpenter Brunt.
Okay. Speaking of Misfits, those were like some of my favorite songs on this playlist.
The punk
Uh,
ones.
Yeah, the punk, the
Same.
horror punk. And I'm generally not like a big fan of like punk music, but those I was definitely vibing out to.
Well, for me, punk is just a genre we probably need to explore it in depth later on sometime, but it's just a genre I've not really have seriously listened to before. So it was just nice to kind of get like a taste of that and be like, oh man, yeah. Because I have one of my cousins that was big into punk growing up, so like I would hear it kind of like in the background whenever I'd hang out with him or whatever. But
Yeah, so to me, like punk is one of those genres of rock where you have to be the right kind of singer in the right octave or in the right range for me to actually enjoy it. So like for these songs, it still had like a little gravitas to it. Holloway, I like that. But when it gets all Holloway, this is how my life, I'm like, ugh, stop.
Oh, that's pop punk. But
Yeah,
that's
that's
a totally different thing.
Yeah.
yeah. So that's what I associate with that. But yeah, I was curious about that. Yeah. What about you, GiggleScar? What are your favorite types of Halloween media?
Mine would be movies because as a small child, we didn't really have a lot of cable like channels back in the day. But when we actually were able to have Disney for like a short time, I was able to watch all the Halloween movies on Disney, like for just the month of October, because we didn't have like the money to buy the VHSs or anything else. So you had like the little monsters on there, you had the Hocus Pocus on there, you had Halloween Town, and it just again, it's a comfort movie. Like I still to this day, I still watch those movies along with the Labyrinth and everything else. It's like, again, I'm going back to my childhood comfort because as an adult, I realize, wow, life sucks right now. Can I just be a child again?
Yeah.
You know?
Right now, life is a horror movie.
It is.
yeah, right.
Whenever I think of Halloween Town, I think some years back I always thought the Halloween time at Salem, Massachusetts was like that. It made me really want to go there. It's not, unfortunately.
See, I always wanted to go to Salem because I think that's where they actually filmed the movie at, was in Salem. Or somewhere out there. I always wanted to visit the Halloween pumpkin from Halloween Town. And it is somewhere in the United States. I don't know where it is, but one of these days I am going to request the month of October off, and me and my husband are going to go visit these spots where these Halloween films have been filmed at, and look at it and everything else.
Do you have trunk space where I can come with?
Sure, you can hop on in.
Nice. Well, I want to see the Great Pumpkin that Charlie Brown had.
Oh,
The animated or the horror animated one?
Oh, didn't I know they made a horror movie of
they
Charlie
made a
Brown?
horror one?
It's a meme.
Oh, okay. Whatever. Like, I thought it was like a real one, and I was about to like write it down because I love A movies and I love B movies. So if you know what an A and a B movie is like not having a lot of profit. that's how Saw started out. It was a B movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned into this franchise. All they had was The Room. And then all of a sudden it just exploded. But there's this movie called Thanksgiving. You really need to watch it. I know we're talking about
Thanksgiving.
Halloween, but you need to watch that movie. It is funny. I love it.
That's a 2 holiday movie.
I was going to say, that has to be a joining of the two.
Yeah, kind of like what's the name? Nightmare Before Christmas. It's like it's both. You can play it during both seasons.
Oh, yeah. Which that's another great movie, man. Halloween
that
gets a
one-
lot of good movies, man. They really
Yeah.
do.
That one I actually like. So yeah, I don't have like, I really can't. Well, I'm not a movie buff in general, but I don't recall many like movies that like stuck with me as a kid that were Halloween based. Other than The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, and then The Nightmare Before Christmas. Those like the only two.
Well, surprisingly, I actually didn't watch A Nightmare Before Christmas for the first time until I was like 23, 24.
You poor thing.
I know. I definitely feel like I got cheated in my childhood,
did.
but
I'm happy for you now.
as an adult, I love that movie. I watched it. I was like, my girlfriend at the time was like, "Oh, you haven't seen this? We have to put it on." And I was like, "Oh, this is like a dumb Halloween Christmas movie or something. What? Fine, we'll watch it." And then I literally, as soon as it like got 5 minutes in, I was just enraptured, eyes glued to the TV the entire time. Yeah, I love that movie.
It really just trips me out to think that like The Nightmare Before Christmas is the same guy that like brought Batman like to the mainstream.
Now that one is a really good film. The
So,
original Batman
original-
cannot beat anything else. I'm sorry, we can argue about this, but I believe the original Batman cannot be beaten because it reminded me so much of the comics.
Nice, Michael Keaton.
That's the thing. And the show that we grew up as children, like when we were kids in the 90s, it reminded us of that Joker. And now they're trying to like mess with the formula. I'm like, stop.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother podcast.
That's a whole nother podcast. Yes, yes.
we can't go down there. We don't have so much bandwidth left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just going back to the music in general, what makes like what makes a good Halloween song in y'all's opinion?
References?
Preferences, you said?
References.
Oh, references. Yeah. Like if it's like referencing, if it's like the Will Smith Nightmare on My Street.
Yeah.
That one, I've never heard of that one, and I heard it for the first time this week, and I'm like, what? Excuse me, I love Will Smith, and this is the first time I've ever heard of this song. I kind of offended my own self. I'm like, excuse me? The Queen of Halloween, and this is the first time I've heard about this? What? And it was really good. I liked it.
I was actually pleasantly surprised about that one too. That one was a submission from we gotta have it back on the show at some point. But that was DJ Kenderboy. He's the one that kind of threw that out there. I was like, because I was trying to like along with the suggestions that you guys submitted, I wanted to include something from like almost every genre. And I was like, I couldn't really think of any hip hop hip hop Halloween songs. And I reached out to Kenny Boy, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I think Fresh Prince did one way back in the day, but like nobody really plays it like that anymore." And I was like, "Really?
I don't know why. It's really good.
I mean,
Yeah.
like it's just like again, like Halloween is that one holiday where you get all of October, but you really get like the last 2 weeks of October, and then like at October 31st at 11:59 is like Christmas galore. I'm like,
yeah.
Like, you don't get a chance to even, like, you know, like, reflect on how great Halloween was or whatever. It's just like, okay, we can go ahead and, like, move on to the next.
It's immediately Christmas within 2 weeks of October. They already got Christmas trees hanging out at my Michael's, okay?
Yeah.
Right next to my pumpkins.
That's messed up.
It is messed up. You got the snowman and the pumpkins. And I love both holidays, but the snowman need to F off for a second and let me enjoy my pumpkins for a good old second, okay? Sorry, I can rant about that all day.
Yeah, it is kind of blasphemous. It's like, okay, let these holidays breathe a little bit. But again, that's a whole other conversation we can get to because I'm quite sure that the place has already been receiving stuff since July at this point. So who knows?
Oh, God.
Yeah. So jumping back into the playlist, on the songs that were on this specific playlist, which ones were your favorites?
Can I say my favorite?
Yeah.
Just to start it off, my favorite, just because it brings a smile to my face is Spooky Scary Skeletons by Andrew Gold.
No, that one's actually a really good one. I do like that one.
Scary Skeletons.
Yeah, that was you, Doc. Sorry, you submitted that one.
Did I? I could have.
I forgot right now who submitted what. I know the ones I submitted, but yeah, that one, I enjoyed that one. And of course, there's like bunch of remixes out there of it, but I just like the original one. It's just something about it, just like it comes on in your head, automatically starts bopping.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine would have had to be the BlockBuster, actually.
By donkeys.
Yes! I was like really shocked because here's the thing. I heard the Fall Out Boy version of it and I did not like it. I was like, ew. Like, I'm sorry. I did not right? I'm a Fall Out Boy fan.
Yeah, I actually like that one. I actually like it a lot.
And I thought I was really excited.
Mm-hmm.
And then I heard it and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And but we have different views on it, and that's completely fine because I saw BlockBuster on it, and I'm like, okay. And then all of a sudden, I start hearing it, and it was like, oh my gosh, it has the and I think the reason why is because I was in band for so long that Fall Out Boy went a different route with the Ghostbusters song, which is fine. I respect it, but BlockBuster had the original beat in it, the and to me, I was just like, patting my head like this, like, and doing my hands like this. I was like, yay, happy Sims.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised about that one. Like, I just love the way how they flip that beat up. It's just K-pop goes so hard, like, for no reason.
And even though the lyrics were different versus the original songs from the 80s, you still, when you heard it, even though it was in a different language, that this is a Ghostbuster song, And then Fall Out Boy, when I heard it, I was like, where is it at? Here's the lyrics. Okay, where's the beat? Okay. I'm sorry. Like, that's just how I felt about it. Kind of similar to the Marilyn Manson This Is Halloween song. I'm like,
oh, you didn't like that one? Oh.
Sorry.
That's actually very accurate.
Right?
That sounded just like it. What about you, Doctor?
It's a tie between two things. I thought I sent you some Argyle Goolsby in here, but I guess I didn't. It's either Ryan Gosling's band, Dead Men's Bones, In the Room Where You Sleep, or Dead Men's Party by Oingo Boingo.
Oingo Boingo.
All right, I did like that one. Oddly enough, so I guess okay. First of all, I want to say this in general. That's weird. All right, so
dramatic zoom.
So in general, I will say I pleasantly enjoyed this playlist a lot more than I thought I would. I was actually like really truly mesmerized and actually was like kind of like really just bopping out to it like nonstop, like all week long.
Yeah, it's a really nice playlist, and I really love the fact that in this little podcast there's many people that have different taste in music, but we all came together and made a playlist from different songs and artists that we've never heard of. And I like you, I was listening to all week. Like, I never heard of BlockBuster. I've never heard of like a lot of these artists, even though I'm Miss Halloween Queen, and we get so, I guess, in a pattern that we are sticking to a genre that we're afraid to step out of it because it's new. At least that's how I feel. But again, with this playlist, there you have hip hop rap, or hip hop rap or whatever. You have punk. You have
a techno Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah. So, and I love Phantom of the Opera. Think of You was used in my wedding when the bridesmaids came in, or Think of Me. Yeah. So I'm a big fan of Phantom of the Opera, and I heard that, and I immediately started bobbing my head and clapping my hands, and I was like all happy pats.
This happened a few times as I was like my initial listen through this playlist, where I would a song would come on, and I would maybe recognize the title or the opening beat or whatever I'd kind of recognize, and I would just find myself sitting up a little straighter and be like, okay,
Yeah.
let's listen to this now. And that was definitely the Phantom of the Opera was definitely one where I was like, what?
Right?
in
Now,
a good way.
Yeah.
the song that really like made me like jump a little bit and like go excuse me was Frankenstein. That one, it threw me off because I heard it as a small child and I never heard it again until recently. I'm like, oh my god, he's talking about something else. Clench my pearls, you know. Looking at my husband like, don't get any ideas.
Are you talking about the Alice Cooper?
Yes.
Feed my-
Feed
So
on my Frankenstein. I was like, oh my god, this is dirty.
the every time I would hear this song, it would remind me of a song that we had in a previous episode, the "Free Your Mind" Terrio,
Yes.
where it's like "Feed my." In my brain, I always heard "Free Your Mind," but I did like that song. I like Alice Cooper.
Yeah. That one was definitely on the top of my list as well. Another one I really liked was Every Day is Like Halloween by Ministry. I thought that was pretty dope. I like that one.
Yeah,
A lot of
I
these
know.
also have music videos too.
I mean, they should,
Yeah.
because like a lot of these songs, like so. This is the thing I was kind of wondering, and feel free to chime in and correct me if I'm wrong. But it seems like a lot of the good Halloween songs that have stood the test of time, they're like '80s songs, '80s
Yes.
based. So it's like either like there's like a good bit of the rock part of it and like the synth of it, and it's just like it's a good old party, good vibes to it. Am I wrong on that,
Mhm.
or is it
No, you're
more to
not
it than that?
wrong about that because when I think about good Halloween horror or anything Halloween media, I think of early 90s and 80s. That's it. Like there's it's a rare for me for a rare occurrence to actually like go, "Oh, this is an awesome horror film." Uh and nowadays, you know, cuz The Ring was kind of mediocre. Like I'm sorry, but The Ring was mediocre and it just seems like a lot of horror films these days just miss the point.
Yeah, I
It's too much
wholeheartedly
in your
agree.
face at 10 minutes in, and I think that's why Halloween is one of my favorite films for, you know, the month of October and things like that, because the Michael Myers, how it was done, it was subtle. Like you'll see a hand and no music, no sharp, and it will just slowly build until you actually saw him come up on screen. And I think it just misses the points these days, you know.
I've got a list of horror movies I could probably give you. Will probably change your mind.
Well,
I'm
yeah, I
down.
mean, I'll greatly like appreciate it, but I saw like this one like scary film that recently it was about aliens and it was on Hulu and I'm
Oh,
like,
are they real? Aliens are real?
aliens are real. I knew aliens are real, like, but anyway, it was like really disappointing. I was like, what is this?
Yeah. We'll definitely include that list in the show notes for people who may also want to, check it out as well. Yeah, I probably won't because again, I'm not that. I mean, I don't not like scary movies, but I just don't. I mean, if it's on, sure, but
It's for me. I enjoy them, but it's so rare to find one that actually like scares me and unsettles me in any meaningful way. Like,
hmm
sure, if it's a bunch of jump scares, I might jump a little bit, but that's like a quarter of a second of just
Yeah.
unexpectedness, and then it's gone. I don't know.
yeah,
For me, a horror movie needs to like, you need to be like on the edge of your seat, like the
Yes.
whole time. You're like uncomfortable with what's going on. You don't know what's gonna happen. Like, yeah, there needs to be a lot more suspense and build up. Kind of like she was like GoogleScar was talking about with original Halloween.
yeah,
You definitely you
Yeah.
don't get that in like what's in the more popular, I guess, like scary movies of today or Halloween movies or whatever. That's yeah, I full heartedly agree that that's something's missing a lot of times
Yeah.
from what I've seen. I'm super interested, Docs. If you have a list of recommendations for movies, man.
Always have a list for this application.
Please, like if you could send us a list so that way you could change my mind, that would be great.
Oh, you got
Because
it. I'll do that today.
yeah, because there's like this the only film recently that has scared me is because my one of my very good friends is actually connected to this because his mom is actually a part of this true story. Is I can't remember what it's called. Let me see here. The Conjuring. I remember.
Mm.
uh,
One of my friends' mom was the little girl. And again, it's one of the things that the reason why that was scary to me, and I was on the edge of my seats because, this actually really did happen.
Right. You have that. You also have that like personal connection that just makes it even because a lot of times movies these days based on a real true story or whatever, but you don't know how much of that is true or not. But like once,
Yeah.
if you know someone that was like literally part of the story personally, it's hard. It's it's that disconnect is not near as wide. So I can see why that would be just has more impact.
Yeah, and I never believed him either. Like, I felt so bad. He would be like, yeah, my mom was the little girl in The Conjuring and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you're blowing up smoke. Like, I don't believe you. And then I saw her, in like the article on the internet standing right next to the little girl actress. And I was like, bro, I'm so sorry. I called you a liar all these years. I'm sorry.
Weird connections. A friend that was friends with the assistant priest that was in The Exorcist.
Man.
Oh my gosh.
Y'all both bringing it today.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sitting here like, okay, do I need to put some holy water and like some sage?
No, you fine.
Serve it up.
I mean, you fine. I mean, but again, that is one of the things that does scare me is things that can happen. Because unless you have experienced it firsthand or you have a connection to it, you don't get really like that shock feeling, Because unfortunately, my mom was not part of it, but her friend in Alabama. I keep on saying Alabama, but they used to be like a sausage company, and then it shut down because they threw the guy to cover a murder in the sausages. My mother knew the guy.
Okay, so there is a sausage company in Alabama. I can't, unless they want to, sponsor the podcast, I'll give them a shout out. But they some damn good sausages though. So whatever that man did or however he died, I want to thank him because his soul and his spirit is in them damn sausages, and we've been eating them damn sausages ever since. So I just
So
tasty,
so damn good.
And that's kind of funny talking about connections, because Terrio knows what I'm talking about because, his family's from there, my family's from there. And so when we talk about those stories, it's like, I'm surprised you don't even know about that. But maybe it was so hidden.
I mean, it could have been hidden or just one of those things where, we don't talk about it.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah. So, it's a little sus. So, have y'all also outside of that like experienced anything personally like in the supernatural realm?
I was about to ask that too. Yeah, I am super curious.
Yeah,
that definitely kind of leads into it.
Yeah, that's actually like a really good, leading into it. Have you experienced anything like that, Dox, or
no comment?
Okay.
No
so comment. It's one of those stories. Okay.
Oh man, no, screw that.
Okay.
Hold on, we're not gonna gloss past that. You know something? What's going on?
No, it's not that big of a thing.
Oh.
Little spooky-eyed, six-eyed figure in the corner of a yard. That's about it.
That's it?
That's it.
Like throughout your whole life, that's all you experienced?
Yeah.
Oh, dang. Okay, so I don't know which one. Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how spooky do you want it to be? Since this is a
10.
11.
Oh God, I hate this story. Okay.
$1.
$1. Because I have a lot of experiences, and on this little experience scared the living daylights out of me, and I'll probably stutter while talking about it. So it was me and my friends hanging out at our grandmother's house, and it was just her, her grandmother, and her grandfather, at the house. And it was like the biggest hangout, we did, every other month or so. And my friend decided to bring out the Ouija board. Now, we were young, inexperienced, did not know what doors meant, didn't understand it. Once we opened a door, we needed to close it. We didn't know anything about that. We were just like a bunch of teenagers acting stupid with a Ouija board. And so after we did the Ouija board, we decided to go in the hot tub because my friends had a hot tub.
I mean, as one does.
As
Yeah,
one
and so
does. It's a natural order
yeah.
of events there. Yeah, makes sense.
You gotta boil the spirits off of you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You gotta
Yeah.
cleanse the spirit by boiling it off.
Well, that didn't help because, we were all in the hot tub. We were in there for quite some time, just talking, catching up, talking about spooky things and, elements and everything else, earth, fire, water, air, etc. And
The Avatar.
something kept on throwing rocks at us. We heard rocks pelting at our hot tub. And we kind of looked over and we couldn't see anything. And the sheet started moving like this under the porch. And we're like, we didn't feel any wind. Mind you, we're in a hot tub. We didn't feel any wind. And all of a sudden, we felt something like electricity, I did, up my spine. And I looked down, and right when I looked down, my friend noticed a arm reach under the hot tub and jerk me. And my leg shot up from the hot tub, and I hit my head on the back of the hot tub. And of course, we get up abruptly, and I'm like, what was that? And we're like, we don't know. And so as we're getting up, we see wet footsteps leading to the basement where we were sleeping at. And I told them to stand behind me because, I am the protector of my friends, when it comes to this type of stuff. And so I enter in the basement, right? Shut up. No, when it comes to my friends in those type of situations, I was the oldest of them. And so I was like, okay, stand behind me. And we go in the basement, and the lights are out. There was a thick fog in the basement, like a thick fog up to here on me. And it was like a purplish type of reddish fog. We weren't tripping. We were not drinking. We were not doing anything that we shouldn't have done. We were just acting like a bunch of stupid ass teenagers at that point, and we immediately run to the bedroom and we shut the door. And I don't know what occurred that night. We just stayed in that room and we heard claw marks on the door and growling all night. And the door, literally shook. It was like something was trying to get us that night. And till this day, I refuse to do that stupid white people shit and bring out the Ouija board because it scared the fuck out of me. So every time someone brings out a Ouija board, I'm out.
I think you have a right to feel that way after telling that story.
It attacked me. I have a million of other stories, but for some odd reason, and I think it's because, I of my certain religion, the things do attack that because they get mad at it for whatever reason, and they want to destroy it. So out of my friends, I am part of a religion that I will not speak of because, I'm going to be respectful towards anyone else that listens, but I always get attacked. And I remember that morning I woke up and I saw scratch marks on my leg. And that day I went home, I scrubbed it with salt, I recited prayers, and it stung. Not because of the salt, but I had nightmares for months.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never known this story, Terrio, so now you understand why I'm so paranoid all the time.
Fun times.
Because I see things,
you
things
get grabbed.
try to contact me. I get grabbed. Yeah, I used to, hang out, when we were teenagers, walk through the graveyard because that's what teenagers did, the goth kids did. And I would be, hanging out behind my friends, looking over my shoulder, making sure nothing would come near us. And then all of a sudden, I'll feel something tug at my shirt and jerk it, and I'm like, what the heck? We'll get in the car and leave, and then we hear on the car and all this other stuff, and they're like, what was that? And I'm like, just go. Don't investigate, just step on the gas and go. You will live through this if you just step on the gas and go.
In a weird kind of way, your story makes me feel a little better because I feel like I've been so many people in my life, friends and family both, just around me, have experienced something paranormal, supernatural that they couldn't explain that was super eerie and creepy. So many people I know have personally, I'll just randomly ask, hey, have you ever experienced anything? Oh man. And then just like you just the story, they're launching their own story. I've never personally experienced anything, but even growing up, supposedly whenever I was 1-2 years old, my family lived in a haunted house, supposedly. My sister has a bunch of memories of creepy stuff happening. My mom has a bunch of stories of waking up, and my mom sleeps with a box fan. and like she would wake up. This happened several times where it would sound like someone was like sticking something in like the spokes of a wheel on a bike, right? And she would wake up and there would be just a single playing card sitting right in front of the fan in like a circle of like wet something whenever she would wake up and turn the lights on. So like it's always been something like weird, but I've always missed it. And I've always kind of felt like, man, I want to experience it a little bit too, you know? But your
No, you
story
don't.
just made me be like, I think I'm good.
Yeah, you
I'll hang
don't.
back here and
And
I'll just be I'll be the guy everyone tells their creepy stories to, and that's it. I'm okay with that, I think.
yeah, because unfortunately, once you experienced it and they know, you have like this certain energy about you, and they will continue to run havoc in your life, no matter how many sages that you burn. Not white sage, because white sages are for a particular type of religion. No, I have to throw that out there because a lot of people do white sage for Native Americans, and if you see it in the store, it is 99.9% stolen. But anyway, moving on from that, you know, and it doesn't matter how many times like I cleanse myself, I put barriers up, things will still follow me till this day, and it is very eerie. And I hope to whoever is listening, if you do not believe in any of this stuff, I pray that you always are arrogant in this category. I pray for that, because once you experience it, you don't want to experience it ever again.
Oh, I'm taking your warning to heart, so at least one person is hearing you.
I pray you will always be arrogant in that category, because it is actually terrifying.
I am very much just in general. I'm pretty skeptical about most. Like, it's not that I don't believe, but like I need to have something like happen to me before I'm like fully accepting of it, I guess. So I don't know. Maybe
Don't go in a hot tub,
that
then.
energy may be partly why. I don't know.
Don't go in a hot tub.
I love hot tubs. Hot tubs are great.
Yeah, are you okay too? Yeah, because you seem kind of like tense.
Yeah, so I just want to remind the audience that I'm still on the podcast. I have not jumped out the window yet, but I was very close. That's a lot of stuff going on. That's weird to me though. I don't know. I guess I personally can't really relate to that. Either I'm oblivious to stuff, or I'm just not really, I guess, sensitive in that regard. I kind of also envy those people who, just like Brandon, kind of envy those people who kind of have those experiences. I don't know.
Oh, it's not fun. It's also something that is related to my family. On my mother's side, I don't know what to call it, but it's like foretell. And I have it, my older sister has it, and my mom. And we always can foretell bad things happening.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since I was young, I could foretell, a bad thing about to happen, whether it was a death or something along the lines. And I know if I have those sensations, it's going to be someone around me. If me and my mom, because we're so in tune and connected to one another, if me and my mom have that same type of connection, it is someone in our own personal circle that will meet that unfortunate death. And we are right 99.9% of the time. And your facial expression looks kind of like, I don't want to mess with this girl no more. Like,
yeah, deleting her contact info from your phone.
So I can tell that you're uncomfortable, so we'll just move from that conversation.
No, we're good. I mean, hey, I'm again, these are things I'm learning. I'm just processing a lot of these things. So,
and you knew me all these years, and this is like new and foretold. Hi, I warned you.
I mean, to be fair, I typically always carry a clove of garlic and a silver bullet with me at all times when I'm near you, just to be on the safe side. But
well, I love clovers, and I'm wearing silver as we speak, so it doesn't really work.
God dang it, she's immune.
I mean, a silver bullet though, even if you're just a regular person, it's still gonna hurt.
Yeah, it's still gonna hurt. Yeah, I
Bullet's
guess.
It'll hurt all the way through.
Yeah.
I don't know. Knowing Keely or Quintario will probably just be like, oh!
I mean, I just got to feel like if anybody were to try to come at you with a silver bullet, like that bullet would like stop midway, turn around like in like what's the name, Mario Kart, like with the
Yes.
with the arms, just like turn around and be like, nope, not today. All right,
pretty much.
So switching gears back into music a little bit.
Yeah.
What are some of the do's and don'ts of Halloween parties?
Don't be a dick.
Okay, well, that's the number one principle. Don't be a dick.
Yeah, that's just a good rule for life, honestly.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So the do's and don'ts of Halloween parties, I got a list.
Oh, damn.
But
She's ready.
I'm ready. Like, hi, my name's GiggleScar. I'm the queen of Halloween and a bitch. How you doing? I have no filter and I tell you how it is. Okay, so the do's of Halloween parties is turn it up, have some good taste in music, have fun, bring food. Do not put this all on one person to do. And help clean up afterwards. If you're the type of person that leaves early, always look at the table and be like, hi, everybody, I'm leaving. Are you guys done with the food? Let me help pack it up for you guys. That way you guys can still, carry on drinking and I'll just help clean up the food,
No, I disagree with that. That is the Halloween party is the best time to literally ghost. So
literally ghost.
I'm just like, I'm out. Smoke
Well, I'm
bomb,
saying,
disappear.
Like, if you see the cheese starting to, this is how I feel about it. I had a safe serve class, and if I start seeing the cheese kind of, looking not right, I will close it up and put it in the fridge. You know what I mean? And leave the rest of the food out. If it's not refrigerant, That way...
But, what if it's, spooky cheese? Ooh. No?
Why would you want to eat spooky cheese?
But mozzarella balls with olive pits to look like eyeballs?
Oh, those are gone.
That's, super, super spooky. Or
I'm talking about the boring cheese, the cheddar jack and all
the blue
that.
cheese. That's real. That's spooky cheese.
Oh yeah,
the cheese
I love
product.
Blue cheese.
Not actual cheese, but cheese product.
Cheese product. Really... Yeah.
Yes. 100%.
Cheese-like substances.
Yeah. And I guess the don'ts for Halloween or parties on my end is raunchy costumes. Save that for Mardi Gras. I really don't want to see Halloween nips on the woman's chest. And then pranking each other, I just think that's highly distasteful if it's a really bad prank, because if I get pranked at a party or anything else and everyone's pointing and laughing at me, I feel very bad about myself and I want to leave at that point. And
yeah, so I mean, the 1 or 2 Halloween parties I've experienced, it's definitely Mardi Gras and Carnival-esque, which I mean, I'm fine with that.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any fear some random stranger wearing an onion and a tomato and that's it, chasing you at a party. What's wrong with that?
Oh God, I will run.
For me, most of my adult Halloween party experience was with college, fraternity, sorority type stuff. So that was, for me, that was honestly the majority of my experience, was people, both guys and girls, just being as slutty as possible with it.
Yeah, as you should be. That's the best time to to celebrate Halloween. Is that?
But it was
always, is that anti-Halloween, being a slut?
That's a good question.
No,
I
don't
guess
think
it's
so.
because I as a woman, it is the biggest excuse to dress up as that, and to me, I just don't see a point in it. Dressing up provocative like that, I just don't get it, and I guess that's why. And I can say that as well for a guy dressing sexy. I'm like, what are you doing?
You don't like my fire hose?
Wait, Naruto's? What?
Fire hose?
Oh, fire hose! I thought you said Naruto.
Naruto's?
I just thought of Naruto going to his girl Nine Fox and going ooh, and
Ooh.
Kakashi freaking out.
I mean, you want to see my Hokage?
Oh man,
The whole thing or partial?
what's happening?
Oh God, I'm talking about this subject. I'm even burning up because I'm just oh God.
I mean,
what are we talking about?
Everybody wants to Rasengan in the face every now and then. It's okay. Too far? Okay.
I'm just oh. If I had pearls, I will be clenching them at this point.
So, okay, well, I don't know. I just so what makes a good Halloween costume to y'all then, in your opinion? Dox,
Yeah.
I'll throw it over to you first.
Creativity. I've gone with complicated. I've gone with simple. The simplest one I've had was a bloody shirt and torn up shorts going to a zombie pub crawl with a little cardboard sign that says zombie bait. That to me is creative in its own work. I've gone complicated to where it was a whole Jack Skellington cosplay.
Ooh.
I've gone to Dragon Con. I've gone to costume party. I don't know. It's a whole range of spectrum of, because I mix in cosplay along with it, and I go to cosplay events all year long. And there's a friend of mine that is an exceptional cosplayer from Australia. Her name is Molotov on Facebook. She does the best costumes I've ever seen. Like this last Dragon Con, she dressed up as Astro Boy.
Oh, I have to see that. I love cosplay. I'm part of the cosplay community, and I have to agree with you on the creative part of it because I do mesh cosplays. I think you know what I'm talking about when I say hybrid cosplays, when you take this character and you form them together.
Yeah.
Mhm.
My favorite cosplay that I have created, and it's on my TikTok, it would be the Jessica Rabbit and the Lady D from Resident Evil, and I meshed it
Oh
together.
wow.
And it is
Wow.
not risky because I am that type of person where I just don't want to be too revealing, but I'm very sexy in it. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I look
Own it.
amazing
Own
and
it.
hot,
Right.
and I love getting into that cosplay because I have yet seen anyone actually take the two most sexiest iconic women, which is Jessica Rabbit, who has been reigned supreme for many years, right next to Betty Boop for whatever reason. And then all of a sudden, this new Resident Evil game came out during the pandemic, and it was like Lady D, and I'm like, ooh, very tall, curvy women. I am 5'1", but I can work with that. Boom, and I formed it together in this formulation of hotness. I
I
love
loved all the memes that came out of that. Like, mommy, get on me, please.
Oh God, I have those filtered on my TikTok because I had one person call me like mommy, and I'm like, mommy, and I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, no, thank you. And then all this other stuff I Googled, and I
That's where you
learned
messed
a
up
lot
at.
of. Yeah, I learned a lot about lingo, and my husband goes, "Don't Google that," and I'm like, "I'm doing it anyway. I'm going to Google Alabama Hot Pocket, and you can't tell me otherwise." And I Googled it, and I'm like, "Why?"
Did you enjoy that?
You just
Did you enjoy that?
No, I didn't.
you just
No,
took me
I
back to
didn't.
middle school saying that. I want you to know.
I never knew about it. Like, hi, I'm GiggleScar. I live under a rock. I'm Patrick. No, but really,
That's
I'm
one
not
of those things
Patrick.
you're probably better off like not knowing about. But
but I'm a curious person. You could ask Terrio. Like, I'm very curious. If I don't understand something, I will Google it and
Mhm.
try to understand it myself. And I end up shoving my foot in my mouth.
I can respect that. Relate.
Yeah, absolutely. As I Google that right now, live on the podcast.
Why are you doing this?
Whoa! Don't you Google Terrio? No, do not Google it.
No, I have
swear
to know.
God. No,
I have to know what
no.
it
It's
is.
Are
fine.
you two not going to help him?
No.
Oh, let
it's
him do
not
it.
fine, Brandon.
Yeah,
It is not.
it's
Dox, you're in the same room with him. Tell him to stop it.
No.
Oh
His face.
my!
His face.
What?
Oh my God,
What?
sweetie.
Ugh.
look, man.
Oh my God.
I'm
It's
confident. Urban Dictionary. Half of it was just young men sitting around thinking of the grossest thing they could possibly think of and putting it on there.
I mean, you know what?
A whole new world.
Oh my God, my labia. Okay.
We have went hard left somewhere.
let's revert back to the conversation before we go down.
What was the topic? Do's and don'ts of Halloween parties?
Do's and don'ts of Halloween
We're-
costumes.
Halloween costumes. I'm curious if Terrio. Now that we've heard from GiggleScar and Dox, Terrio, have you ever do you ever dress up in a creative, unique, fancy costume? It's like
Okay.
memorable.
Yeah, I did. So a lot of times for Halloween, because again, it wasn't one of those holidays that like I was clamoring to go out into the wild. I was often at the place working those days. So I tend to just put together whatever scraps we have left in the seasonal department or whatever. So two characters have come to fruition based on Halloween and all of that. First one is my character Big Daddy, which was basically turned out to I just happened to have a wig from a movie thing I did, had buck teeth, basically looked like Jerome from Martin, but I had the glasses with gold rim, gold tooth. I probably had a combined total of 5 teeth on my top row, and I had a velvet suit and some baby blue gaiters.
I think I remember
Mm-hmm.
This
So,
costume you're speaking
Mhm.
of.
oh yeah. I've worn the hell out of it multiple times. So that being said, my favorite memory of wearing that costume was I was at the place dressed up as a broke pimp, essentially, with the gold chain and gold teeth, the gold tooth, one tooth with
Yeah.
with gold and one diamond on it, and this kid with their mom comes up and asks, "What are you?" And and I kind of paused, and this child's mom was like, "How do I explain a pimp to my 5-year-old?" And I stopped and immediately, without skipping a beat, I said, "I'm an entrepreneur."
What did the kid say?
The kid was like, "Okay, all right," and moved on with the rest of their day. So that was my favorite one. My second one that I did, we had a leftover witch's hat with like neon orange hair. So I was like, okay, I'm a big burly black dude. Why not? So I threw that on, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take it up a notch. So I had one of my coworkers put the big orange hair into 2 pigtails, and I changed my name tag to um my character's name. So, and at the time, I was helping customers and everything, and this lady was like, "Who are you supposed to be?" I was like, "Oh, I'm Paprika Longstocking, Pippi's cousin."
That's pretty good. That's pretty clever.
So
that is actually
yeah. So to me, what makes a good costume, other than like the skills, of course, that go into all of that stuff, if you can make it funny or silly, that's like a winner for me. Like
Yeah.
no offense to the people who are like super authentic to the character. I'm just like, okay, wow, you look exactly like what's the name, Spawn or whatever. You got the whole cloak. You put a lot of work into that. That's fine. But if you
Spawn's hot.
but if you do, okay, Doc, she's gonna need that fire hose over there. But to me, if you do something silly and like or something avant garde or whatever, like to me, like that's the one that's the one that kind of gets me. I like those.
I've personally, I like the more simple ones that are just kind of in line with what you were just saying, where if you can be creative with like minimal props and additions to it or whatever, kind of just makes it, I don't know, speak a little bit more loudly, customized to me. Me personally, I was sitting here trying to rack my brain. I remember like one year, it was like I was a freshman in high school and I was invited to a Halloween party, and my mom really wanted me to go as a gumball machine. And she got me like, I don't even remember what, but it was like this like big bubble thing that she like fit me in, and it like blew up, and then there was a bunch of like balloons she had blown up thrown there, and like right before I was about to leave to go to the party, social media is fairly new, but I remember someone had posted something somewhere as just like a quick video of everyone at the party that I was going to, and like it was very much like a bunch of high schoolers trying to be adults. There was no like funny, there was no one else dressing like a gumball machine, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I completely bailed on it. I think I made my mom pretty sad because she spent some time and effort making that costume, and I was like, I don't want to go.
I think it's a fair call when you're in high school.
I would have been hugely made fun of if I'd win. I'm without a shadow of a doubt. I believe that. But
No doubt, and especially if photos were like taken and they were like digitized back then. Oh yeah,
yeah. And there were several people there that I was like crushing on at the time, and it was just like it would not have been good for my social life if I'd went. But I do still kind of regret, at least I don't know, doing something with all my mom's.
High science,
that was like her last hurrah. Yeah.
Hey, at least it only cost them $0.25 to have a little treat from you.
Yeah. Invite someone inside the bubble with you.
Lord. I was not witty enough to think of all this whenever I was that time.
I was sitting here thinking to myself, I was like, how can you make a gumball machine slutty? Like,
girl, look at all these balls.
Well, here's the thing. There's an old saying, your mama works at the corner street and sucks recorders for a reason. So you can also be a gumball machine.
Where were you guys at 15 years ago?
I'm so sorry. We're here now, though.
I'm sorry, Brandon, but you are correct. It was a good thing that you did not wear that costume because if I was your friend, I'll be giving you shit.
Yeah.
Fuck him. You should have done it anyway.
I go back and forth. Like, part of me, because like all of those people that I was like scared that they'd be making fun of me, I've not talked to them in years. I don't give two shits what
Yeah.
how they think about me for the most part now. Like, but
And
whenever
looking
you're
at
13, 14, 15, however old I was, 13, 14, 15, it's you can't rationalize that at that point in time.
yeah,
Now as an adult, if my mom was like, "Hey, I have this awesome gumball machine costume for you," I'd be like, "Hell yeah, strap me in, I'm going."
Yeah,
But
right.
just cut out the back.
yeah,
And,
exactly.
and plus, not to mention, if you went to the party and there was like, the girl that you crushed, she probably would have thought it was really cute and would have liked to, talk to you at that
Or
as well.
maybe played with your balls later on.
Super
You think it's
debatable.
debatable?
Super debatable.
Because
But you guys also didn't know me as a 14-year-old. I was super awkward.
okay,
Who
Like,
wasn't?
Exactly. Like, we're
but
all messed up.
I was like known as an awkward
yeah,
guy, like in the social, like in my school or whatever. So like, again, hindsight, like you said, Docs, hindsight's 2020. As an adult, I do kind of wish I would have went, but you live and you learn.
Yeah.
yeah.
Every other costume I've ever tried to wear has been like super boring and not really creative at all, just like slapped together last
Yeah,
minute.
and that's the one thing I definitely knows about the Halloween costumes. If you're gonna do it and you plan on doing it right, you got to start preparing in like February. Like,
Yep.
and every year I say I'm gonna do a banger costume, and next thing I know is like, oh shit, it's October 1st, and I'm recording a podcast, and I don't know what I'm gonna wear for Halloween yet. so, so okay. So one of the last questions I have, and this is in general, this is a philosophical question, but I've always wanted to know this, and don't judge me too bad. What is a goth? I don't get that. Like, other than the aesthetic, but I don't know what it is.
Okay, so a goth was originated in the UK because of the music, and from it's like being Halloweenish every year, and I know a lot of people connect goth culture with Halloween. It's because goths love the dark, morbid aesthetic. They love coffins. They love anything that deals with death. They love ravens, and etc. Like, I am not full blown goth. I am not like with the whole makeup, the
The paleness or
puffy hair.
whatever.
I am what you call the mom goth, where I just slap on some clothes, put my hair in a bun, and we're walking to the nearest Spirit Halloween for our house decorations that we will hang up year round. That is me. And it is based around the music culture as well, because if there's a music culture that I wish that I could have gotten into, would be the goth techno, the vampire clubs, the best example I can give out for gothic aesthetic with music is The Cure. That is what that type of music is. So there's a lot more. I'm not sure if Docs you know about it. I'm pretty sure you do. Maybe you can add more to the table, but
I do. Um, I go to a lot of goth events inside of Atlanta. The best way I can attune it to is it's a lot like the punk rock culture, where it's a non-conformist of traditional items, but it's more centered around music. But it's all the spooky things that go along with it as well. It doesn't have to, but more and less it does.
goths tend to romanticize death. And I can relate to that because it's something that me and my husband always tell each other is even after death I will find you in the stars because we will meet on Jupiter and dance where it rains diamonds. So it's kind of like even after, we both will face death eventually, we will always be in love with each other and find each other after death, and it's kind of like one of those things. It's never a goodbye,
Um,
you
am I
know?
the only one that thinks that sounds romantic and like a threat at the same time?
Yeah. No, I mean, no, you're not the only one. I
But
agree
it
with that.
does send you a certain type of chill. It's like, oh, because even though, people say, you are, in our wedding vows until death. Well, I think not because, him and I, our souls are connected forever. And that's how I believe it. Even in this life, the next lifetime, we will be two different individuals. We will find each other, on
I
this
will
earth
find
again.
you.
and love each other. Yeah, exactly.
Let me love you.
Yeah.
One word Docs used was nonconformist.
Yes.
I feel like everything you guys are talking about definitely kind of encapsulates that. Just because, like, for a lot of people, death and things that have to do with death and just the macabre in general, people kind of, that's not like polite conversation topics or whatever for a lot of people. And I guess it sounds like to me that to be goth is just to more embrace those aspects and, just really kind of, I guess, finding the romance in them, right? Like,
Yeah.
finding,
Memento mori. Remember that you'll die.
Very good quote. I love that quote, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess finding beauty in death too, because I tend to collect dead bugs. I know I'm not gonna even look at Terry because he's just gonna give you a look like, are you serious? Blink, blink, blink. But I collect dead bugs and I just see the beauty in it. I love skulls. I have a fascination with coffins. I already picked up my coffin, by the way, like years ago. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be purple and it's gonna be like a metallic look on my coffin. It's gonna be
Tell me about your coffin, and I'll tell you about my coffin.
Oh, you picked out your coffin too. Okay.
This is great.
So I loved the whole doorway of the coffins having like glass on it. That way you can view the body. But I know once you put dirt over it, it's gonna like, cave in. And it's usually those type of coffins that I described that have the glass aesthetic to it is usually supposed to be put in crypts. So my family's poor. We don't own a crypt, so whatever. So moving on from that. So my other coffin idea would be a old style Victorian with silver handles, purple wood finish with a little bit of sparkly in it. And so when you open it, it's going to be like a light gray. And I haven't decided if I want polka dots in it or not, but that's what I want.
For sure, go with polka dots. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. What's your coffin going to look like?
Well, no, I have a coffin at home. It's about it's not a full size. It's about 4 feet tall. On the inside, I painted it red. On the outside, it's painted charcoal gray. It just holds my posters.
Oh, I thought you had like a legit coffin. You can actually buy those on Amazon now.
Not yet.
Is you can buy like a coffin.
Not yet. I will.
And yeah,
Wow.
they're cheaper to buy at Amazon than going through whatever wherever you go to die. I don't know what it's called.
The place. Yeah.
The place. Yes, it's because they sell it by like 10,000s, 20,000, and you can actually buy a decent human sized coffin on Amazon for less than $5,000. And that's where I plan on, if I do have the money, to either have a customized coffin or just get
Why is Docs placing an order right
cremated.
now for 2-day shipping?
You can really get anything on Amazon nowadays, man.
That
You
is
can.
crazy.
You can get urns. If I decide to go with an urn, it would just have the same aesthetic, purple, a dark, not any type of purple. It has to be royal purple, mind you, because I am the queen, damn it, with silver, designs on it.
Fair.
Okay.
I already know I'm being cremated, so mainly because I don't want to have to worry about a coffin and all that. Just chuck me in the furnace and forget about it,
Yeah. I'm looking on Amazon right now. I do see regular coffins for $1,400. And also a ball pit that's coffin shaped.
A ball pit that's coffin shaped? Are you kidding me? That sounds fun.
That's what you need to have at your Halloween parties.
Yes,
that's what I'm going to get buried in.
I wanted a ball pit at my wedding, but my husband said no, and I wanted a bounce house, and he said no as well.
You know what? That would be insane. You go to someone's funeral and it's like, can we view the body? Only if you go through the ball pit.
Right? I think as people look at funerals as a way to grieve, and that is true, but it also should be a celebration.
That part I firmly agree with. For
Yeah.
me, I'm simple, but I'm also like bougie. So I'll probably have like a pine box on the outside, but on the inside, like I have like Wi-Fi and Alexas and speaker. Oh, there she goes. And then like I'm recording a podcast. but yeah, so it'll be like one of those things where like I probably have like all my tech gadgets, and as you can see, I'm surrounded by tech stuff. So yeah, I'll probably have that. And I gotta have 808s because if I do come back, if I wake up from a deep sleep, I'm like, hey y'all, I'm not dead. I just slept for like 3 days. At least I got some music I can play. This podcast available on Spotify. Nice.
I would
Right.
suggest that you watch Vampire's Assistant because you're describing all of that.
Okay. I'll definitely give that a shout. So,
Yeah.
all in all, Brandon, let's recap what we learned today. Today, we've learned that music, Halloween music, number one, can slap.
We definitely learned that.
And number two, there's a lot more to Halloween that we think is like multi-layered, multifaceted, and is the best time to be a slut and also to not be a dick.
Yeah. It's also very like most things, but I feel like it needs to be said anyways. It's very kind of subjective on, each person has their own relation to the holiday and the surrounding festivities that, may mean more or less to them depending on what it is and what they've experienced.
Yeah. And all kidding aside, like the one thing I truly learned from this conversation is that there is beauty in being anti. So doing what makes you happy is like like paramount. So regardless if you fall into a mainstream category or not, whatever makes you feel happy, whatever brings you the most joy, regardless of how over the top or under the top, or just completely balls to the wall crazy to the outside people looking in. If it makes you happy, fuck
As
it.
long as you're not being like a dick to other people.
Damn straight.
That's like the one caveat. Do what
Yeah.
makes you happy as long as you're not a dick to other people.
And not being disrespectful towards other people's cultures.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh.
Yeah.
And I guess we should say this, which it does not have to be said, but apparently in 2023 it still does need to be said. As the honorary dark member of the podcast this episode, blackface is never okay. You can
It's
do
not.
the entire
I was waiting.
you can do the
Yes.
entire costume, but you don't need to match the skin color. I can be Superman. You don't see me out here being
Yeah.
all pale faced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, disclaimer. As a white person, don't dress up as a culture, you uncultured white swine. That is all.
You mean I can't dress as cheese?
You can dress up as cheese. I'm just talking about don't wear a headdress. Do not, dress up as a geisha. Do not wear a poncho and a sombrero. That type of stuff. Do not do blackface. Sometimes I still to this day get very angry, and I'm sorry for slamming down my book, but till this day I get very angry at the fact that we are in still 2023 and we are still talking about this. It should not be even in the topics to talk about, because we should be able to move forward in life and not do stupid things, you uncultured swine. Sorry, I'm shutting up. I'm gonna. She was just staring at me like, oh god, I set up a fire.
No, you're right. I just don't have anything else to add to it.
No, okay. You were just like staring at me like, oh god, she's ranting again.
No. When I invited you on here, I knew what to expect, and you delivered and then some.
And then you had to mention the blackface, and that was like, and another thing.
I mean, it's one of those things that just have to be thrown out there. I mean, because we have the Halloween playlist out there. It's available on YouTube and on Spotify. But however you celebrate Halloween with friends, family, strangers, whatever. Again, have fun, be safe about it. Don't be a dick. If you want to be a slut, just be safe about it. And also another disclaimer: if somebody decides to be a slut, that does not invite you touching them. So
Exactly.
just be respectful of all of that. So we gotta throw it out there. What we learned today. All right. Any other things you guys want to throw out there for Halloween? Since you guys are the Halloween experts, I feel like I've learned a lot.
Yeah, I will say this also to add: if I do not see any folding chair costumes this year, I will be very angry.
Seconded.
I think that should happen.
Yep.
So again, if you guys need a costume idea, be a folding chair, because all the white people will run away.
Okay. Dox, as a white person, you have anything you want to plug? Promote today? I don't know how to segue that. I'm sorry.
No, not really. Except for I'm Dox Anderson on everything, so just come find me that way if you really feel like it. There's nothing really interesting on there, but whatever. I'm also will be at Monsterama in Atlanta at the end of October. That's a vintage horror convention. We've got a couple of guests. We've got one of the composers that worked on the Halloween franchise.
Oh.
He's doing a concert there. So
Perk, like cat ears, like Halloween.
yeah.
Okay. And GiggleScar, where can people find you online and see some of your crazy antics and whatnot?
Okay, so if you want to follow me on my TikTok. It is GiggleScar. It's just GiggleScar. It's the one with around 15,000 followers on it. I do have a couple backups just in case people flood and report me because they cannot handle the truth. It's all over the place. I do skits, I do cosplays, I talk about real life events when it needs to be said, such as you experienced just a few moments ago of me just getting angry. The fact that this is 2023, this still has to be a topic that we have to talk about, and it should not. So that's how you can find me if you like my stuff.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to this special spooky Halloween episode that we have shared with you today. Don't forget to do all the things like follow, share, subscribe on wherever you listen to podcasts. You can visit our website, afterlistenpod.com, for links and previous episodes. If you want to like, follow, share, subscribe, you can follow us at afterlistenpod on Instagram, YouTube, pretty much everywhere. And yeah, thanks for listening.
Bye.
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 Bye.